Okay, today we're going to find out why it is that I asked you to move from a Google Doc to a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet. And if we were in Microsoft, I don't think I'd be doing that because Microsoft Word is a lot more powerful, as is the whole Microsoft suite compared to the Google suite. But the Google suite does have its pluses and minuses. So what I'd like you to do right now is you should be in your spreadsheet, and this is the information. I turned my bibliography. I went and finished my bibliography. It took me approximately 15 minutes to do, so it shouldn't take that long. Now, uh, first thing I want you to do is, again, if your bibliography is spreading out of the cell like it is right here, just click on the B column to select the whole column. Go up here to Format and choose Text Wrapping and say Wrap. And what that does is it puts it nicely into each into its own cell, and it doesn't overflow into the other cells. Now, we don't need the sources anymore, so I'm going to say highlight these and hit the delete key. Okay, and let's call this, instead of sources, let's call it source citations. All right, now that we've done that, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do a couple of quick things with, shut the door. Quick things with, we're going to learn how to sort, and there's some easy ways to sort. And when you sort something, usually you want to have titles at the top. And the problem is that you need to make those titles not go anywhere. So let me just show you something real quick. If I'm going to, first thing I want to do is make the title stand out. So if you just click on the row, just like when you click on the column letter up there, A, B, C, D, it highlights the whole thing. When you click on the number of the row, it highlights the row. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to center and bold. Now you can go up here and you can choose center, and you can click up here and you can choose bold. Or you can do the shortcut key, which is Control B. And to center, the shortcut is Control Shift. Okay, now what's interesting about this is that if you just sort this right now, unfortunately, this bibliography entry thing is going to sort along with it. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I go right here and I click Sort A to Z. Notice that the bibliography entry is after A, it starts with B. So it kind of sorts out of place. And we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to undo. And I'm going to show you how to keep your titles from moving. And so that when you have something like this in a spreadsheet or in some other thing, well, spreadsheet in particular, and this is true for Microsoft Excel, you want to lock the titles in place. So the way to do that is you select the row and you go up here to View and Freeze. And you're going to freeze the first row. Boom. So I've frozen the first row. It looks a little different. You can see there's a little thicker line right here. But watch what happens when I go to sort this time. When I go to sort, I'm clicking on this little arrow here at the end of the letter column heading, sort A to Z, notice that bibliography entries doesn't move. It stays there, which is kind of a nice thing. And we're going to do that a couple more times. Now, before we do that, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to tease out the source citations for your work. You've gotten 20 facts, and I want you to source those facts. And if you were in my class before, or if you don't know this, the source citation is always the first part of the bibliography entry. In this case, and it's the only one in mine, it's the title of the web page. Now I have to double click on it to get to it. So you're going to highlight just the title of the web page, the thing that's in that's in quotes. Control C is copy. Put it over here. Double click if you have to. Parentheses. Paste. And for some reason, it just did parentheses outside here, so I'm going to do that. and take out the period because that shouldn't be there. And this, when you're doing a paper or any other thing that requires a source citation, is the source citation for that particular one. Now, the rest of them you can see are authors. Well, for the other source citations, it's simply the author's last name. So this is really a quick move. So we just go double click on the name, copy, paste, in parentheses. So we'll just do that and so forth. So I want you to just set those aside as a way of making sure that you know what your source citations. And I don't know why this thing is doing it the way it is. It's very frustrating. It shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I figured out the problem. I was holding down the control key instead of the shift key when I was doing the shift 9 to get the parentheses. So don't do what I did. But anyway, you can see now that you have your bibliography entries, and these would be the source citations that are going to follow your data right here. So let's look at the data, and I want to let's sort this data a little bit. Let's have some fun with it. So let's spread things out first. Now you can see when I pasted this kind of got all weird and messy. So I'm gonna let me just highlight this right here. I have no idea what that says because it's yellow. Okay, it says source, important facts. Okay, these two are paraphrase. Let me just get rid of the, well, I'm going to move this up here. Get rid of that black. And this is my own words. And this we're going to put down as source citation. This is where I put my notes, but don't worry about that. So I'm going to get rid of this first column, this first row up here, and it's very simple. You just highlight the row, right click, and you can see right here it says delete. You don't cut the row, you delete the row. So the row is deleted, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before with the other one, where we want to center them and bold them. Let me just show you a real easy trick here. This one happens to be centered and bolded already. So the easy thing to do would be to go up here and click on Paint Format, which says I want it to look exactly like this, and then you just highlight everything else, and it does exactly that. It makes them all centered and bolded. And again, we want to lock this row so that when we sort it, we don't sort these into the mix. So we're going to go up here to View, Freeze, Row 1. All right, so the row is frozen. Now let's spread these guys out a little bit, particularly this one, because so you have to click on it and then go right between. You can see it turns into these double arrows, and then sort of spread it out. And then this one and spread it out. Now, here's the thing. We don't need these anymore because they're in your other document, so that if you need to go back and refer to them again, you can. So let's just delete these. We're not going to delete the column, and we could delete the column like by doing this. But I actually want you to hang on to the space here. So I'm going to say delete this and move this back over so we have some space here. Now, here are my 20 facts. Here are those 20 facts in my own words. I mean, these are the sources for my 20 facts right here. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do, and I'm going to show you a real cool trick here, is you're going to sort the sources. So let's just sort them by source. And so we're just going to go A to Z. And now it's by each of the web pages where I got my information from. Now, if we go back here to actually we have to go back to the original document because I kind of lost track of which source came from where. So let me just do that for a second. Okay, so here's the original thing that we did, and these are my sources in the order that I had them. So now I can go back and figure out which came from which place. So I know this is a lot to bring up. So here's a quick and easy trick for you. If you have two separate windows, here's one window and here's the other window. if you take one window, slam it up against the side of the screen, it says, okay, you want that on the half screen, and which one of these do you want on the other half? And I want this one. So let's take a look. So we know that the Guardian one was the first one that the first I used for number 1. So if I go back to the bibliography thing here and I look for the Guardian, let's see, where is the Guardian? It's down here. So the Guardian one was done by a guy named Singh. So if I copy this, I'm just going to copy the cell, go back over to my data and paste it. Actually, here's the trick. Highlight the 3 that are number 1 and paste it. It didn't work. Okay, so I pasted in 1. Watch this. If you grab this little thing right here and pull down, it goes to all 3. All right, so let's do that with the other ones. Go back to the bibliography. Number 2 is popular science. So I just have to look over here. It says pop sci. And it's this one. So I'm going to copy this, go back to my data, number 2, right click and paste. And then just drag this little dot down. And there goes all 3 of those. My third one is Yahoo. So I'll go back over here, find which one is Yahoo. There it is, it's GAMP. So copy, go back over here, paste and pull, just 2 of them. And then number 4 was New York Times. And that's Garcia, so I'm going to copy that one, go back, paste, and so that one's there. And let's see, we'll go to this one. This is number 5, which was Japan Times. And that's the top one, the amid the coronavirus. Copy, back over here, paste, and drag it down so that they're all there. And then the last one was my 6th one. And I don't know about this one. I think I forgot to put something on that one. I'll have to go back and look for it later. But let's see, the 6th one was the conversation. So I'll go back over here and choose, that's the one I didn't choose so far, right here, Gardner. So copy and paste. Now, these are the sources for all but one of my things. And it looks like I only had 19. Oh, well, if you only have 19 or 18, I'm not going to hold it against you. I think that's quite enough for right now. Okay, so now that you've got all of this, let's bring it back over here and let's just stop with that.